USI head coach Chris Ramirez, first season with the program. Team was picked eighth in the preseason poll. So, coach, just talk about you. You get hired. You've been here for a little bit, but now it's finally time a week from today to start the season. It's all that. How can you describe all that?
Yeah, it's been a pretty whirlwind, busy. I guess busy is probably the best way to put it. Ever since about middle of July when we got hired out here and, start going to work on putting the roster together and putting the coaching staff together. And then, with it being that late, we jumped right into, practice and fall ball and, so busy, getting to know those guys. I think that's probably the biggest difference, when you come in as a new coach and you bring in 30 new players. Sometimes the fall is, it's always about development and it's about putting the team together, but this year everything was brand new. So almost more than ever, it was about just getting to know our players, watching those guys play, kind of seeing, if what it looked like in person is what it looked like on video. And so it was a good fall, competitive fall. And now we're just, fired up and ready to go and get the season started.
Just in general, how often is the video different than what you actually see? Is it like 10%? It isn't what you thought it was, or I mean, every year is different, but how does that sort of work?
Yeah, every year's different. This year I hope it's closer to 90 or 100%, because we're pretty brand new. But honestly, me and my coaching staff, we used our people that we trust in our network, and we're really excited about the guys that we were able to bring in, even though it was late. But it's been a very competitive fall, and the videos have matched up pretty well with what we see in person.
So people haven't seen this team. Obviously, you're new. The players are new. What is the identity? What are fans going to see when they watch USI this season?
Yeah, we're going to pride ourselves on playing baseball, and as simple as that sounds, maybe a little old school version of the term baseball. We want to play the game right, play the game hard. We want to bring a lot of energy to the park every day, and just play clean baseball, and that's been what we've talked about. As we get ready for the season, obviously scouting reports and things like that start to, those conversations start to come up, and you see the preseason polls and all that. So you start to get excited about, you know, Alabama State and, the teams in our league. But ultimately for us, it's going to be more about ourselves, especially this year and early in the season, making sure that we do what we do and not worry too much about, what the scouting report says on the other side. Ultimately, we've got to go play our brand of baseball, and we'll make our in-game adjustments and our series adjustments as we learn the other teams. But mostly it's going to be about playing clean baseball and playing the game right.
Who are some players then that maybe people should watch out for? We did the players to watch. Blake Kimball was the player you all selected, but I know there's others. Just highlight some of the people should.
Yeah, again, I'm excited to see our guys go out there and play with another team on the other side, and just kind of see guys shine, and you always get, I think hopefully we get to see what we see in practice show up in the games. Sometimes you see guys rise up, and when the games start, a superstar is born. Unfortunately, sometimes the nerves and pressure can hit, and you get a little tighter version of the player that you've been seeing at practice. But you know, Kai Holiday was a center fielder, a very athletic player that was with us at Lenore Ryan last year. He's an all-conference player. He's an extremely athletic center fielder that can really go and get it. Plays with a ton of energy. BJ Banyan is another center fielder, outfielder guy that now on our roster, if there's anybody you could kind of predict based on past, BJ would be that guy. He was a starter at Charleston Southern. Went to Memphis out of high school, so he does have the most Division I starting experience on our entire roster, hitters and pitchers. So those two guys are just gritty baseball players at the top of the lineup there. And Clayton Slack is a very skilled shortstop. Patrick McClellan is a California junior college player. Clayton Slack was at Madison Community College, very successful junior college program. Cole Kitchens had a big year at Kansas Junior College. So Micajah Wall is a catcher that was with us with a big arm. He was at Lenore Ryan last year as well. Um, Again, everybody's brand new, so there's a lot of guys on that side. Definitely on the mound. Blake Kimball's been a standout for us. He was at NAIA transfer over the summer, and he's done a really good job. Pitches with a ton of energy and a ton of tempo. That'll stand out right away. He's got one of our more talented arms as well. Andy Gonzalez is a junior college player from out in Arizona. Hiro Yamada is a NAIA transfer. He pitched in the Cape Cod League a little bit, a talented arm, player out of Japan. Cam Demision, D2 transfer, left-handed pitcher. Ian Anderson, it's a D1 transfer from Middle Tennessee. Aaron Rubio, Dylan Chapa, Jake Kennedy, Jake Porter. Just a few guys, man. We're excited to see all those guys go out there and play.
You have an idea in your mind, like everybody's going to play a lot. I got these or that, and you don't need specifics, but going in, or is it just sort of open and like who's playing the best is the best, and how do you kind of figure that out? Who needs to be in the line?
I think it's wide open. I think it's wide open, and I think that's been something that has made our fall and even our early spring here very competitive still. Everybody's got something to play for, and you always do, but sometimes when you return 5 starters, everybody knows those guys are going to play, and you're kind of competing for 4 open spots. The whole slate was wiped clean. And it's still clean. Now, obviously, some guys have positioned themselves, throughout the fall a little higher than others, but we're going to move some things around, especially early in the season. Just see where the pieces fit best and go from there. But we've got some returning players. That I think that's been a refresher for them. Rothschild, Boyd, Winston Reed, those are some guys that have some at bats here, but maybe weren't the number one. And those guys are going to have a chance to play for us right away this year too.
So you're obviously new to USI. What did you know about the OVC when you got the job? And what I don't know, but none of the other teams have played a game. What are your expectations or thoughts about what you might see when you get to league play this year?
So I was very familiar with the OVC and especially Southern Indiana. So I got the job previously. I was at head coach at Lenore Ryan Division II out in North Carolina for 5 years. Before that, I was the head coach at Illinois Springfield, and previously in the same conference as Southern Indy. And so I know what it feels like to play us, and I've been here, and I think that gives me a good familiarity with this program now, and I know the tradition of winning and Division II national champions, and so very familiar with Southern Indiana, and obviously being in Illinois, and I grew up in Iowa, familiar with a lot of teams in this league. Our expectations are high, even though I think we're gonna, on paper, I think it's going to be challenging with a bunch of new guys, and I think we might be one of the tougher teams in the country to get an early scouting report on, because we just don't have any reports. But we're gonna take it one day at a time, and we'll go out there, and every time we step on the field, we always go expect to win the game. So we'll just go one game at a time like that.
Yeah, so you're Springfield, you're UIS, right? Does that get confusing? UIS, USI now is in
It does. I have to pause every time just so I don't, get in trouble. But yes, I was at UIS, and now I'm at USI.
Let's end on this. Let's talk about your schedule and how your non-conference, and you're obviously in the city. You have a team that was one game away from the College World Series last year too. So I know you're playing them, but just how this schedule will help kind of get you ready for OVC play.
Yeah, I think it's a good balance. I think it's actually, if you're a baseball person, it's a very challenging schedule. Even though it may not have the big flashy Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Texas, it might not have the big name. But all these teams that we play on the weekend and our midweeks are top mid-major, very good baseball programs that have been around and had success. And the weekend too, we're doing a little home and away back and forth with U of E And, I think that'll be a good one, for us, obviously, and for them, but, for the Evansville community to get out and watch both D1 teams play. We're, I think less than 10 miles apart in the city. And that should be a fun one with a game at our place, a game at their place. And ends up being 2-2, 3 on the weekend, and then with a midweek later in the year. So that should be a fun one.
Well, Coach, appreciate your time this morning, and just best of luck to you and the Screaming Eagles all season long.
Thank you.